Your health versus your life? That's the wrong question. All day long we are making choices. Coffee or tea in the morning, wine or beer with dinner out. And lots of more important ones too. Who could be our partner? Or what job will we take? Or do we want to start a business? And then how do we make that work? Most of the questions we ask are either or questions, this or that. But there are some questions for really difficult situations that we need to ask both and. Is there a way to put things together to make them better? So I looked this up on grammarsoft.com to find out what this really is. And it gave me an example. Would you like apple pie for dessert or ice cream instead? Both and is, what if we take the apple pie and put ice cream on top? Do you know anybody who likes that? I do. So another example from work is how to deal with teamwork and individuality. Our subconscious mind just gets confused. Am I trying to be on a team or am I trying to be an individual? It can't handle more difficult things like the benefits we all know of diversity at work, so it gets confused and we have to take this other tool of both and thinking to find out why. Let me illustrate. Right now, soccer is my main sport, and I can't find any teams that have only goalies, and there are also no teams with only strikers. We need to put them together and have some midfielders too for the team to be successful. So years ago, I met a really impressive business leader for coffee. It was the middle of the morning and she arrived by bicycle. It was her commute to work. I was so impressed, and it just felt completely out of reach to have a life like that. How could any of us change the way we live our lives, the stresses, the limitations, to fit a pattern like that that was so healthy? So she was so happy. She was just doing really impressive things with her business. I told myself it wasn't really that important, so I didn't try, unfortunately. Because then in 2016, life gave me a very personal illustration of just how important it is. That's when I had a diagnosis of aggressive stage 3 cancer. Now what? Well, as an entrepreneur, I knew to start figuring out what is the path to overcome this latest terrible wrinkle in my plans. I started asking, okay, so how do I keep my consulting business and my health both at the same time? Obviously, I have to pay more attention to my health. And I didn't know from my own habits, so I asked mentors, how do you do this? I asked other cancer survivors, how did you do this? I tried looking it up on the internet, and the only information I got were bits and pieces that were just swimming in an ocean of information that didn't fit me. I was so frustrated, and I had really no idea how to start. So, okay, time to try again. I started gathering all these questions and asking myself, what were the ones that were really the most important? About 10 days after the diagnosis, I had a call with my doctor, and I had these key questions written out on a notebook. When could I expect to feel good? When could I have maybe a business meeting or get some work done? Lots of other questions. I'm all ready, sitting on the couch, notebook, pen, earbuds in, phone right there. My care team was wonderful. They were very kind. thoughtful, but they didn't give me any answers that day. I felt lost, confused, and worst of all, alone. But action soon came along, and that's what I find helps the people I work with too. Talk to friends, get support from neighbors or church, medical appointments. What do your kids need for school? Anything to get you into action and start moving forward. So as I started moving forward, I was picking up tips. A nurse said, walk more, it'll help with side effects. An acupuncturist said, come to treatment before chemo instead of after. And I also made other choices. I started having green tea instead of coffee, raw honey instead of processed sugar. And bit by bit, things built together. And so did my health, and so did my business start to put itself back together. But there were lots of times when I just was not able, not ready to do things, and not asleep. So there I was thinking about how that first moment had felt, how awful it was to be alone and not wanting anyone else to go through that. I mentioned talking to other cancer survivors. That continued. We shared ideas back and forth. I took notes for them as well as myself. And eventually these conversations grew into something that really helped them and felt really meaningful to me. So I started to have an idea of, gosh, wouldn't it be great if I could just do that instead of work? But I didn't know how to make it happen. But now, 5 years on, once I hit the point of 5 years on, I am officially cured and really enjoying helping others through their journey and continuing to learn so much about how health and life, business, everything else that matters to you can fit together and can make each other stronger. So how could I make this my business? I thought about nonprofits. That's even harder, and I really actually wanted to be able to put food on the table too. I thought about cancer coaching. Those folks come along at the end. The people I talk to want help at the beginning, want help as soon as they're diagnosed or as soon as they find out there is such a thing. So I want to be there for them. And also, it may seem, and it's true, that the business is just not as important as your health. But when you're looking forward to a life with meaning, with purpose, a life you're going to love after this terrible chapter is over, most of us want our business to make it too, so that we can go on to the things that we love. My client Sam found me when she was in a pattern of working so hard on the days that she felt good. She would stay up, she would push herself, she would just do more even after she knew that she should really stop. But it ended up in causing days and weeks afterwards where she could do really nothing. So we worked together to create a pattern of stopping when you need to, switching to the other parts of life that we know are important, getting some rest, and trusting that you know how to build yourself up to be able to do good work again, maybe even immediately, that very next day. So this is how we can put our health and the rest of our life together and make each other stronger. My clients tell me that they now know what to do and they feel confident. I want you to know that it is possible. They also say they have energy and can think clearly, which even once you're done with treatment, is hard to come by at first. It's really encouraging to me to know that I can make that kind of a difference. And that's why I came here to talk to you, so that you can also know how to get yourself started on overcoming whatever your health obstacle may be and keeping your business going. At the beginning of this year, a spot on my face was found to be ready to become melanoma. So it had to be taken out. It was actually this big, the size of a quarter, right here, which meant that there also had to be a surgery afterwards to correct it. It was painful, and it meant that I had to stop eating, sleeping, exercising, all the things that I was doing to keep myself vibrant. And that was a month. It was a long, frustrating, tiring, and depressing month. My kids knew what was happening and are older now, so they could understand, but it just wasn't a happy time. Once I was allowed, I started back to getting a little more exercise, eating some things that had been taken away, doing all the things that are the way I live life. And slowly but surely, I actually started to feel better and even a little encouraged. Even, wow, oh my gosh, I am following my own system and it works. It's not just something my clients say to be nice or because they're so desperate. It's not just a fairy tale I told myself because I really needed something to get through those early years. So now I know in my gut, in my recent memory, how effective it really is to do the things that take your health, your life, the other things that matter, put them together, make them all stronger. Whether your hard situation is health or not, I'd like you to change the way you ask yourself questions. Do I do this or do I do that? Do I minimize my health, do the bare minimum that will let me go on through the day? Or do I minimize something else or everything else because health is the only thing I can think about? Instead, think about how your health and other things fit together, make each other stronger. I'll give you a few ideas about that, but the main point is just to know that either-or thinking skills that we default to, it's natural. It's what we should be using a lot of the time, but make sure to include on your sort of team of thinking skills some strikers, some goalies, some midfielders, some both and thinking along with that either or. When you come along to a new idea, ask yourself, does this fit with me? Don't just do what someone tells you because it sounds like a good idea. If it doesn't fit, it's going to take things apart instead of helping you put them together. Also, write down what you're grateful for, what's working well, build on it. I'd also like to show you a stress management habit. Back on the day that they took out that quarter-size piece, I found myself doing it without even thinking. I was only trying to get through that painful moment, and my mind helped me without my even planning it or even noticing it first. So here's what you do. Take your thumb and rub it with a couple of fingers. Pick a memory, a happy memory, an outdoor place, and close your eyes if you like and just replay it for a minute. And that will bring peace and calm back to your mind and your body. And if you do this regularly, it'll be there for you when life comes and hits you hard and you need something. You won't have to think about it.